Hello, hello, hello. Here we are again for another thrilling tale of the adventures of the kobolds. And you definitely don't see a 10-foot radius that should have been pushed to the side a while ago. Just get that out of here. As I was saying, last time of the adventures of the kobolds, they had ascended the spire after performing the ritual, the arcane octad, which they have been collecting as they had explored Ythrin's ruins. After completing this ritual and you ascended the stairs, you came across a curious sight. A veritable celebration of several mage-like individuals, perhaps the veneer of nobility of Ythrin, all having a grand feast, a celebration just for seemingly no cause. It all seemed strange at first, as they seemed at first to bear you no mind. But it was clear that something was off. Some things about the party took your notice. That the individuals' conversations all seemed to not quite repeat, but all bear similar sort of verbal cues. And only 3 individuals seemed to stand out from the crowd, all of whom seemed very interested in you after you proved yourselves to be a bit too curious for your own good. After some digging around, you also discovered that there was a separate room, which seemed to be containing a curious creature, a massively armed figure, wearing this very intricate-looking Chardalin plate mail, and a simple glass dome with a brain inside where the head should be, in an alchemical laboratory. Of course, this was not the only thing you discovered. Skanuk himself had discovered, in some separate offices, which seemed strangely cold and bereft of life compared to the veneer and life filled, like sound and laughter filled room of the ballroom, discovered that there was a notebook that contained the whereabouts of the spindle, the Asturian giant's artifact that was said to have hampered the city and caused its very fall, that was located in the spire itself, but to which you had not found just yet. After trying to formulate a plan telepathically, all of you began to notice that those 3 individuals who noticed you before seemed to be able to read your intentions, and as such, it was jokingly mentioned, perhaps, that you should perhaps take them out, to which they responded, and clearly had some sort of telepathic capabilities. After combat ensued with these individuals, it quickly became known that these were no mere mortals. These were individuals who had been transformed into brains in jars, which you had actually known, or had seen previously in one of your bits of lore that had been revealed to you in previous exploration of the city. And so you had after a bit of combat, you had defeated these individuals. But now time is not on your side, as it was discovered by all of you that an individual was approaching the spire at a somewhat slow pace, but determined. The demi-lich Iriolathus himself approaches. And the question is now, how will you respond to his arrival? And so, we leave off there, as you all determine your next course of action.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, all good, no problem.
Should we like jump out the window?
Well,
You know,
you will know that all the windows here are sealed for the most part. Continue, though. Sorry, I cut you off. Like,
If we set up to take a long rest in a hallway and used tiny hut. Obviously, Hawks couldn't fit in the tiny hut, but he could fit into a room. And then we could tiny hut the hallway. And that might be a way that we could keep the entire party safe for a long rest. If we were thinking that would be a good thing.
If we can swing it, I'd like that. But if it doesn't work, it wastes a spell slot.
Well, it either wastes a spell slot, or if we ritual cast it, which we can. It's assuming that real artists can't just straight up dispel the hut.
That is true.
Villain will walk over. Yes, that is cause for concern. I am curious, though. I'm wondering where this invisible bridge will lead us. She kind of points out to the topmost part of the hall. Managed to dispel that strange fog, thankfully. But there is that... I have determined that there was a bridge that leads to the other side of this... almost looks like a chasm of some kind, but... there is light at the end. To a secondary tower. She kind of like points up this direction. As you all are thinking, let's see, who's the closest one? That'd probably be Hawks. You hear something in your mind, Hawks. A very quiet, cold, calculated voice. If it is refuge that you should seek, enter the door, close to the stairs, on your right. You will not be stopped. You have my permission to enter my laboratory.
Interesting. So, it sounds like we've got an invite to a space over here somewhere.
Invite from who?
Well, I don't know. Was there someone over this way? When you went scouting, Scales?
Big suit of armor with a brain floating in some sludge-like material.
In fact, it was quite similar to the creatures that you saw, that you had killed, actually. Although the preservative fluid was different. It was a very deep orange in color, Scales. You did notice that.
Well, I guess if we've got an invitation... I will have to reduce myself to get into that hallway, so I'll do that.
Alright.
Start squeezing through. Okay.
Yeah. You'll see a head of a Magian peek out of this tiny little corner room down here. And they just give you a nod. You are given permission to enter. It will say in a very monotone voice.
Yeah, the blue guy says we can go.
Alright.
Oh, okay. Which door is it?
You'll see the door to your north will open on its own.
Okay, I gotta be... Oh, this looks all delicate. I'm so big. Oh, wait. Give me some space here. Sorry, I don't mean to knock over your stuff. Oh.
This door just like scrapes along the ground as your heavy armor just like makes that loud kind of clanging noise as you enter this room. You have to. There's so little room. It's like it is super cramped in here. You have to like tiptoe and like sidle against like it looks like an operating table in the center of the room. So you have to, as you squeeze past, like you kind of like nudge it slightly to the side, and you'll hear a telepathic as you enter the room.
No, sorry about that. I'm
Yeah, nothing breaks, but like it's very loud and is this all of you?
We got at least a few more.
Yeah, we're two will kind of like hide out in this room over here. There's not enough room over there. It's too crowded. I will peek out into this room over here. And Valin will also move down. Of course, I assume you will go down there as well, Scales.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. All right. And now you will all see the individual who stands before you. Their armor is extremely intricate, completely composed out of chardolan. You will see that on their back they will wield a greatsword similarly made of the same material, with 3 orange gems placed into the blade. You will see this same kind of like orangish light, kind of like ooze out of the cracks of the armor. And like you will see as well, the armor itself is very spiked and rigid, and there is iconography of skulls along the knee plates and like around the belt. A very very harsh looking individual just from aesthetic alone, but yet the voice that you heard in your head, Hawks, was quite calm, if somewhat cold. The individual, interestingly enough, the body does not turn to face you entirely, but the domed jar on top of where the head should be, will slowly turn around, and the front part of the brain will face you. You are safe in this place. Iriolathis does not wish to linger among relics of the past.
It's kind of ironic considering he kind of is one at this point.
A cruel irony that has been thrust upon him. If he was still lucid, I am sure he would laugh at the joke that he has become. You will see as she kind of like the domed brain just kind of turns back around to what she's working on. You can see she is currently like crafting some sort of alchemical concoction. As she puts like one alembic into pours a little bit of the liquid into like a small glass jar, and she'll begin just shaking it as she begins to observe it. I am sure that you have questions, and I can answer them, but I would first ask a question of you all. Who are you, and why have you come to this place? How did you come to this place, even? But you may ask and answer at your leisure. And she will put the liquid down and sort of kind of take her sword and just kind of set it to the side next to her. You may take your time. I would suggest you answer truthfully, however. I find lies disagreeable. You will feel a slight tingle in your minds as she says that telepathically. 28. What do you wish to gain from that insight, Meepo?
Why is this person curious about that? Are they like going to do something if we give them the wrong answer or something?
You get the sense that they won't do anything. They don't seem to be overly violent. You may think that the sword was just perhaps a veiled threat, but it seems like perhaps just it seemed like it wasn't actually what you thought it was. Because it seems like they're not paying attention to the sword itself, just setting it to the side. It seemed like more like the sword was in the way, as the figure, like the very bulky figure, like tends to now kind of sidles against one of the tables. Seemed like it wasn't as much of a threat as you thought it was. It does seem, however, upon closer inspection of their behavior, which is difficult to kind of tell because there really isn't a face for you to look at. All you really see is just this suit of cold armor and this brain. But just from the tone of their voice that is reaching your mind, you get the sense that it's genuinely curious, this individual. This individual is genuinely curious about you.
Well, we're kobolds.
That is plain to see. Save for one of you. The brain will turn towards Villain, who will kind of like straighten up a bit.
We're here, researching, I guess, this city.
Interesting. From the occasional outsider of planar travelers, there have not been any mortal visitors to reach Yithrin in a very, very long time.
Well, it's been sealed off. And buried.
Was it now? That would explain some things. We have been quite... The individual considers this for a moment. Isolated, as it were. There was an original theory of why we were unable to escape. As I'm sure you might question how such powerful mages were unable to escape after the city crashed. Curious, is it not? Such
Little bit.
mages capable of powerful teleportation, no doubt, with their great magics at their disposal. Detect a hint of bitterness, Meepo.
I mean, we were kind of clued into the fact that maybe there were some gods who didn't want the place unsealed. And we, well, we got access by offing one of them.
The figure pauses. Curious. Very curious. Which one?
Arl.
Interesting. The figure, goes back to their liquid and starts to swirl it in their very, very large, clunky, armor-plated hands, and will very delicately pour out the liquid onto a small sort of petri dish, and just sort of observes it. You'll see a small sizzling appear from it. Not quite right.
Hey, you can read minds, right? A little bit of mind reading.
It is a side effect of the transference, yes. As the figure taps on their brain-like dome.
You get images.
I can.
Okay, here. Hawks will concentrate and try to remember jumping off the tower with Arl.
The figure leans in, very curious, taking their eyes off of their experiment. And they will look at their brain will kind of slowly creak in your direction. There is a pause. It's clearly you feel a little bit of a tingle in your head. It seems like they're trying to pry a bit deeper into your mind via detect thoughts. Do you allow that?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll mention, if you want to see more, sure, but I can warn you that I was maybe a little bit kooky at the time.
I can sense that in your thought patterns. Curious and intriguing. You may be exactly what Ythrin needs. And they lean back to their experiment. Tell me, I have looked into your thoughts. You have seen what has befallen our once glorious and magnificent city. What are your impressions? I'm curious.
There's a lot of interesting stuff here. There's a lot of it that could probably do a lot of good out in the world, and there's a lot of it that should probably never leave this place.
Like that windsock.
Like the windsock or the creepy thing in the pit.
The creature in the pit is an unfortunate side effect of a few of our oracles trying to understand what happened. It was unfortunate. Their minds linked all at once, and a calamity occurred. The corruption of the arcane blight caused their psionic minds to link in an unnatural way, and caused all of their bodies to fuse together. Quite fascinating, but not useful.
Okay, but you can understand how we'd be a little bit worried about the thing that caused that to happen getting out into the world at large.
We just left that there, right?
Yeah, I had to re-knock it out.
Right.
It should not cause any issue unless one is trying to seek knowledge. Otherwise, it rests at the bottom of the wellspring of understanding. But to your previous point, the windsock, as you mentioned. I've seen the images of your mind. You have no doubt seen the body, the expired body of the Faerun. An aberration that ours and other Netherese cities at the time were in great conflict with. Creatures that could absorb the very magic, not only of the mortal variety, but of the land itself. In fact, it's the very reason the Aurak Desert became what it is today, as their methods could suck out the magic of the land itself. But it is long dead, and preserved in our museum. They should not be concerned for it to be let loose, if that is your concern.
One of the cages broke.
Specimens representing different stages of their reproductive cycle, infecting other creatures. Specimen was gone.
That is a cause for perhaps some concern. But I have no plans to remedy such a thing, although it would be beneficial for it to be the case. My thoughts have long steered away from preventative measures. There have been no need for such things for thousands of years. My priorities now lie in reconstruction. And the individual goes back to the petri dish. You will see what looks to be a tiny bit of an amorphous substance, like this gray amorphous substance that kind of like sprouts out from the petri dish, very slightly. It's like a tiny little gray blob that sprouts these little tendrils. And as soon as you see the figure like lean in close, the figure explodes. Another negative test.
Trying to make some of them giant mimics.
Yes, so that I could control and create more to aid in reconstruction, but my methods have proven unsuccessful. We have lost much of the materials required for such a process. I've had to make do with such meager substitutes. But that is no matter. You are a new variable to the equation. I'm curious. I've seen another goal that you have. The figure turns towards you all, leaning away from their failed experiment. You seek a staff of power, do you not?
Well, I think our technical goal is to make sure that nothing winds back time using that thing.
I'm sure. But you still wish to retrieve it, do you not?
I suppose we do.
Yeah, that's the goal.
You also seek other things as well. Powerful things that ordinarily might fit into your viewpoint of wishing to never see the light of day again, and yet you seek it. For what reason? Vengeance?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a pretty good motivator, honestly.
Respectable. I too seek vengeance in a way. They're quite similar, and yet different in a way. I seek a vengeance of my... I seek vengeance in what has befallen our city. Of the malady, the insanity that has befallen our once great leader. I seek vengeance on the very thing that has befallen our city, the cause of the arcane blight. Perhaps one of the major blockades in reconstruction of Yithrin.
That spire, or not spire, the
Spindle.
obelisk.
She turns to you when you mention the spindle, Hawks. The spindle was a mistake. You will feel a great malice in your head, Hawks. I warned Iriolathis and all of his fledgling apprentices that it was too dangerous to tamper with this spindle. And yet they thought that they could contain it. They thought it would have been no problem. And look at us now. She will just the individual gesture broadly. Do you know what happened in the time following the fall? The magic, or rather the lack of magic caused by this spindle. It took 50 years. 50 years for us to be able to even cast the most basic of magics again. And before those years concluded, we were driven mad at the inability to escape our situation. We were truly doomed. With Iriolathis' phylactery lost, most likely never to be found again in either the rubble or the glacier itself, he dwindled into a husk of his former self. Oh yes, I seek vengeance, but not against what you might think. She kind of takes the great sword that she had set to the side and places it back on her back, which sort of connects in almost a magnetic fashion, just connects to her back.
Fancy.
But I feel as if I've gotten ahead of myself, and I've forgotten my manners. My name is Veneranda, head of preservation of the mind. They will bow.
Well, you seem to have done a pretty good job on yourself, at least.
Indeed, I operated on myself. The figure leans towards you. It was a very dangerous and risky procedure. And yet the results were satisfactory. As they kind of like lift up their arm and just kind of like clenches it, with hearing the clinking and clanking of metal. The same operation that I've used for many older mines that required preservation. Unfortunately, they did not wish to help in my efforts to reconstruction, choosing to live in a realm of fantasy and escapism, as if to assuage the doom that befell us. You took care of them. I saw it. Good riddance, I'd say. No real loss there. But I've babbled enough, per se. What else do you wish to speak to me of, if you have questions? None?
Well, I was just curious what your plans are after the vengeance.
They lean back. I believe I've stated as such. The reconstruction and revival of the city has always been my goal. But it cannot be realized until thy vengeance is dealt with.
Why do you want the city rebuilt?
Because it was magnificent. They lean in very closely. They take their hands off of the alchemical table that they were leaning on, and kind of like, just sort of, not threateningly, but just sort of, just meander towards you with their arms folded behind their back, pacing back and forth. This city was a pinnacle of magical evolution. Magics that were never seen across all of the realms. All created here. Wonders never before seen. It was beautiful. And I would love nothing more than to have it return to even a fraction of its past glory. I would do anything for that.
And you're trying to create mimics to do that partially?
She kind of like
Yeah,
unfolds her arms. Go ahead, Skinner. What were you gonna say?
They were sort of used for construction and saw it around this place, remember?
The figure points towards you, Skinner. Exactly. It was simply a side project. I did not think it would yield results, and as proven here, it did not.
And you can't control the ones that are already made?
Unfortunately, that power has been lost to us. The ones that were created during the time before the fall. They've created a new generation all on their own, and generations upon that, which were not properly trained and domesticated, and they are practically wild. It would take a whole new set of generations of training and domestication for us to even begin such a thing.
You'd have to start by capturing one.
Perhaps. The figure will nod their cranial dome ever so slightly in your direction, Hawks.
I mean, we fought them before.
Indeed. Were they as sneaky and yet crafty as I expected them to be? Did they surprise you?
Yes, actually.
Well,
Now,
if they were domesticated, you would have spotted their presence long before you saw them. They respond to the presence of one who commands them. You know that they're there.
now hold up a minute, though. The ones that attacked us waited for an alarm. We touched something in the museum we shouldn't have, and they responded to that.
No. There was a Nothic that got eaten by one of them, I think.
For just a second, my laptop fell off my computer and I just caught it. It was just a second. So go ahead,
Yep.
continue. Okay, laptop saved. Phew.
I mean, yes, but it ate it as secretly as it could. I'm just saying it seemed like they actually revealed themselves and started to make a move once we had set off the alarm.
Maybe the alarm spooked him?
Maybe. I'm just saying, hypothetically, if we could find some that are in situations like that, maybe they're a generation closer to the ones that you were pretty well trained.
A curious thought, and perhaps once the cause of the arcane blight is fixed, I can consider that as a future option. But until that point, there is something that must be done. Or rather, something that must be retrieved. The staff. Eriolithus' staff.
I think we were pretty certain that that blight thing wasn't getting fixed anytime soon.
It's a possibility that it might be. But and the figure pauses for a minute. It seems to be contemplating something. The staff can affect the obelisk in more ways than one. It could rewind time to fix the city to before it fell. But the staff can also perhaps destroy it, if you seek that route.
But if we rewind the city, wouldn't it rewind everything?
Yes, that would be the easier method. In fact, one that I would recommend. But
Then
I
Levistus would be released.
I can sense that is not your desire.
Thing is, I think we're coming from a mindset that the obelisk is damaged enough that even if it rewound, it wouldn't necessarily do so properly.
Perhaps. And yet, it should still be collected regardless. Tell me, did you wish to destroy the staff?
That was our goal.
Well, I would perhaps advise against that course of action, if only that it would be difficult to achieve without personal injury.
Not even on that anvil?
Especially on the anvil. You see, when the staff is destroyed, it releases all the remaining magic in its countenance in a quite sizable area around it. And there is a not small chance for the person who destroys it to be deposited in an extraplanar location. And those that aren't take a sizable amount of, shall we say, what's the word? Physical destruction, shall we say.
Sounds like a hard time.
A very difficult time. And yet, should one instead choose to... if you... darn it, Mike. If you instead choose to wield the staff, perhaps one who goes along the arcane route. It has many benefits. She not so subtly leans towards Villain at this point has been very kind of like listening to the conversation. She, at the mention of like the power benefits, she looks at all of you like, she's calm, but there's like it's that gleam of like gremlin energy of like pure like, oh, this sounds too amazing to let go. But she knows what she knows what you guys have discussed about the staff, so she's not. You don't think she's gonna do anything, but she's tempted.
Well, if we really can destroy the obelisk using the staff, then our concern about the big staff reset thing being used and causing massive problems that way wouldn't be an issue, and we'd be able to hold on to it then.
Sure.
Possibly. Yes.
Yeah, as long as it's not Chartlin.
To my knowledge, the staff itself is not made of Chardlin. It has been some time, though. I have not laid eyes upon it for a very, very long time.
Well, I doubt it's changed if it wasn't Chartlin before.
Well, there is a staff next room over that's Charlin.
Those staffs, unfortunately, are quite worthless. They have some small power, but yet they pale in comparison to Areolathus's staff.
Oh, okay.
Are you using them?
I am not, no. I'd used them for previous experiments, but they failed to meet expectations.
Mind if we peruse?
You may. But I believe you'll be disappointed.
Are any of them cursed?
To my knowledge,
Well, aside from the Chartlin.
the Chardlin one, I believe, is suffused with positive energy as opposed to negative.
Oh?
Indeed, I believe that one is perhaps the more potent one. If you unhold it, I believe one becomes immune to fear and to mortal poisons.
Kind of useless for me, but maybe.
The others, I believe, are foci that are slightly more powerful than the common variety. The Chardon one is perhaps the most valuable of the lot, but it did not serve my purposes.
And it will drive someone crazy.
No, it's got the positive energy instead of the negative energy, so it's not going to drive you crazy.
Oh,
It might actually make you a better person.
Yes, I believe the Chardon is purified.
is that how that works? Hang on.
Well, we originated the Chardon, the black ice, we usually call it. There are more primitive versions that are infused with demonic energy, I believe the phenomenon is called. But that is, like as I've said, primitive. This is of our creation. It is pure.
Does it affect your mind when you use it?
Only that adds the euphoria of power. But no.
Sounds like a Skanuk kind of thing.
If you count ego as madness, perhaps.
Lucky for me, I do not.
What did you wish to learn from that Arcana check, Skinnock? I'm sorry.
Oh, that was on the positive or positive energy, not driving insane.
Yeah, it sounds correct to you.
Fair enough.
Because
fair enough.
so far, you've really only dealt with like negatively infused, like demonically infused Charlton, you've contemplated the possibility of like Charlton that isn't infused with negative energy, but you've never really seen evidence of it. This is the first evidence that you've seen, and you feel confident in that this is true.
Interesting.
Well, I'm okay with anybody taking that if it's not gonna do anything to you.
Could be quite useful.
I'm also okay with destroying the obelisk with the staff and then keeping it afterwards. The staff of power.
Cool.
No objection to that.
It is also clear to me that you feel the power of a real Lothis, yes?
Well, not particularly in so much as his power as a whole, but we're just not ready for it right now.
Indeed. I can tell, judging by your countenances, that you are in need of rest. You would not be able to fight a real Lothis as you are. Despite
No.
his diminished power, he is still a force to be reckoned with. And as powerful as you are, from what I have seen of this suplexing from atop a tall tower, the goddess did not seem at her full strength. Otherwise, you would not be where you are now. Is this a correct assumption?
Okay, but to be fair, this is a taller tower.
The figure
There you
pauses for a
go.
minute. Venerata pauses for a moment.
Everyone pauses for a moment at that one.
While technically true, there is a different concern with which you should be aware of. My master, well, former master, he has a great many different powers and tricks up his sleeve that would be detrimental to a close combat individual. Even one who is far away is not safe. Despite his weakened form, he is still highly resistant to that of which gave him life, or unlife rather. All magic, if he is resilient enough, he can become unaffected by even the most powerful of magics, should he succeed in being resilient. Staving off piddling damage, as it were. And I have seen on occasion, should he bear a terrifying and uncouth howl, it can, how to describe, reduce one to an unconscious state.
Alright, so I gotta prepare silence.
It would be wise. Although he has lost the ability to cast magic himself, many of his abilities are magical in nature, but despite his frail appearance, he is quite strong. Even magical weapons themselves, his tiny frame is resistant to them. It is outright immune to regular weaponry in his current state. So despite his weakened form, and perhaps low constitution, his current form is very apt at avoiding pain and destruction of his current state. He is quite
That could be a
powerful.
problem.
It is a problem, yes. Which is why I offered you respite, as you could not face him unless you were at full strength, and even then, the challenge would surely be difficult. One of you may even die in the process. But that is merely a hypothesis. I do not know the true extent of your capabilities, and even though quite impressive to kill a god, my master was quite powerful, even in his heyday, and even his weakened form, I believe, well, perhaps it is simply a bias of times long past. I believe even in his weakened state he could go toe-to-toe with Oral in your state that you fought her at, and win. Massively so.
Yeah. Kind of, probably.
Again, hypothesis, conjecture.
Well, if we can beat him, then we can probably beat an ancient white dragon, would you say?
To this hypothesis, I would concur. That sounds plausible.
Okay, then he's a good test.
We just need to make sure we don't fight him, like, in his home territory.
Indeed. This is the lair of Areolarthus. This is effectively his home. Okay,
Is the whole city or just the tower?
the tower itself. The city, while it is his home, the tower is the source of his power. And before you have any ideas, she looks towards you, Hawks. The tower is nigh indestructible.
Oh, I don't plan on bringing the tower down. I'm just saying that hypothetically, the grab him and leap from the tower strategy is still valid.
I need to double check something.
I mean, the windows are all sealed, aren't they? Can we even get out there and do that?
Unfortunately, the tower is protected by a magical barrier. Now, you did complete the Arcane Octad ritual. I assume that is how you got in here. Otherwise, you would not be able to. Unless you were servants of the one who did. But I will warn you, because this is effectively his sanctum, teleportation magic is unable to exit the tower or enter it without Areolarthus' permission, which, in his current state, is impossible to achieve. And even trying to break the windows, a surmountable task.
Luckily, he's got a big old bridge over nothing here.
I must also ask. I did notice that there was a rumbling earlier, a couple days ago, and I noticed the Skydock Tower was destroyed. That didn't happen to be one of you, was it?
That was actually this albino tiefling. What was her name again?
Well, I
I
mean, it
don't
was sort
remember.
of us.
don't know. It was her. It was all her.
Look at her.
You'll feel a tingle at the back of your mind, Scales. Make a wisdom saving throw.
It was, words were said, things got out of hand.
Gonna go on the record and say that that insanity bit that you noticed when I was talking about or showed you leaping from the tower may have played a pretty big role in my decision to do what I did.
It seems your friends are truthful. The figure will tower over you, Scales. There's a little bit of menacing going on here.
Listen, if Scales didn't do at least a little bit of lying, he wouldn't have had secrets to share for the Octad. So, you gotta give him some credit.
This is logical. We all have secrets that we wish to keep. And I figure we'll turn away from Scales and go back to the operating table. So, if you wish to find the staff, and hopefully avoid my former master, the staff is in his study, at the top of the spire, which, to reach it, you must cross the bridge.
Seems logical.
Indeed.
Well, won't he get really, really pissed if we go into his study? I think I remember him being catchy about secrets, about his people looking for his secrets earlier.
Indeed. Unfortunately, the master, in his dwindled and addled state, has determined that any outsiders that he finds, unless they are some sort of rescue party, he believes that the other Netherese cities are still very much active. I have long since foregone any chance of rescue, and in his state he believes it may still come. A shocker that it hasn't yet.
Hey, just gonna get your clipboard ready.
Got a clipboard. Does anyone know where there's any like brooms around? Which tends to be a cleaning crew.
You did see that there was a broom in one of the other rooms, like in the side room where Muerte currently is. Muerte's just kind of chilling out there. You notice that they're feeling like a little bit sick, like you clearly ate too much. Like you see like a pile of vomit in the corner of the room, which they try and hide. You see nothing. I am not in the waking state. Brr. Yeah, you do find a broom.
So we can pretend to be a delivery and/or cleaning crew as the game.
I was thinking rescue crew.
Oh, that's also true.
If you
If we
attempt
look-
that route, you had better had significant proof that you are.
What's one of the other cities?
That's a good question.
Netherese cities.
That is a good question. Yeah. Let me check that. Hold on.
We have a specific city.
Hang on.
We can ask Professor Scant about it.
I know. Here's the thing. I'm looking at it.
I know. I'm just filling the void with the plot.
Let me think. There was in Lenor, the first of our flying cities. There was the enclave of Thultanthar. But that was, I believe, transported somewhere. Difficult to say. The Netherese Empire stretched across a large portion. But the big kicker of what you would need to convince your real life is that you would need to speak the native tongue of Loros.
That does pose a problem. But it's easily surmountable with a rest.
Yeah, you could talk to us or talk for us.
You just feel like a murmur from like inside the pocket of the Lin. It didn't go so well last time.
You just didn't have enough confidence. Look,
Well-
we'll tell you what you need to say, and you'll have it under control.
Do you think he'll believe me? It was very dodgy last time. He accepted it, but I don't know if he'll accept it the second time. If you're confident, then sure. I'm not very confident.
I can back you up. I've got tongues.
Well, if you wish to attempt it, I will support you in your endeavors, even if they prove to be suicidal.
Will he recognize that we've casted tongues, though? See, I was thinking we hide Scant behind the clipboard, and then Like, Skanuk could pretend to talk, and then it'll seem like Scan's voice.
Well, if we see him from a distance coming towards us, I can just cast tongues and prepare for it. How long does
Okay, but
tongues
we
last?
definitely need the clipboard either way.
Yeah, we need the clipboard. That's an important part of this. Because otherwise, it's just not
Otherwise, you're
conceivable
just
that
some
would be.
asshole.
It lasts an hour.
A curious plan. Veronata will sort of go back to her supplies. Well, if that is the plan you wish to undergo, I will not stop you. But if you do wish to take the Staff of Power and any other artifacts, I will tell you that you will simply need to cross the bridge, which will lead you to the second tier of the tower. And if you do take the staff, I do have a request. I would ask that you give the staff to me, if only for a short time. And we will all go to the obelisk together.
What do you want it for?
Specifically, I am very knowledgeable on the staff's usage, and I have the capability to wield it. I believe one of your number might be powerful enough to do so. Looking at Vlin. But I believe I'm the most capable.
Does it seem like he has an alternative motive?
It's possible. They're very difficult to read, though. They are, a brain in a jar.
Right.
So there's some difficulty to determine that. I mean, they seem genuine, but I mean, you do get maybe a slight sense that maybe they're not telling you everything, but they've been pretty open with you thus far, and have given you some respites. They can't be all bad. I mean, maybe you do feel something off, but you can't. There's no clues that you can tell to determine if that's true or not.
Okay. Well, we'll consider it. I don't think we can make a decision right now. We'll talk about it as we look for it.
Logical. I understand. I merely suggest this to you, and if you cannot meet this request, then I simply have a different one. Please, I beseech you to restore this city to its former glory, if you can. That is
Was
my
the
hope.
city peaceful?
I cannot lie to you in that regard. It was a city of mages, of the highly gifted in the arcane. Morals and ethics were not really par and parcel. We simply did what we could because we could. To experiment, to see the limits of the possibilities of the arcane and the weave. Such things were not considered in our journey to greater understanding.
Science of the somewhat math variety of everything.
We do what we must because we can. That's a good one, Kim.
Anyway, do we get the long rest?
I will say, during this time, it's mostly just been conversation.
Right.
But
I'm
you'll get the
assuming
sense
after.
you'll get this sense that as Venerata leads you, you get the whole room just kind of goes cold for a moment, and she will say to you, "Ah, he has arrived. Don't worry, he will not enter as long as I am in this place. He does not wish to see me. Denial, I believe. He still believes this place can be saved. Well, it can be saved, but He believes that nothing is wrong. There's nothing wrong to be fixed. And, but do not be concerned. Rest. And I will speak to you once you have fulfilled that rest. And they go back to their beakers, their vials, their liquids. There isn't really... It's not a very comfortable rest. This is a laboratory. But you find places, nooks and crannies to kind of hide under. Vlyn kind of makes the best of the operating table, but like the rest of you can kind of make sense of like where you can kind of rest in here. But with that, you all will sleep. But not before I need you all to make some con saves.
All right.
Yes, the curse.
Muerte and Villain
Muerte and
2.
Villain. Yep, I'm gonna roll those on my own. Okay. Okay. As Villain awakens, she seems totally fine. Muerte slept in the other room, so you don't see Muerte currently. Scales
But
over.
we do get the most.
Yeah, Scales. As you look at him, he's got those kind of like graying under his eyes. And Scales, you're feeling a little. You feel like your anxiety like boosted up to 11. You don't feel too great.
I could really use that Charlton stuff right about now.
Yeah, Morte. You'll see Morte kind of poke their head into the room.
You alright, Morte?
You see a bit of graying under their eyes. I'm fine. There is no need to be concerned.
Alright. I
Need to
removed
be
curse for her.
Oh. Nothing is changed. I am totally fine. Nothing was wrong. As their feathers fluff.
That was lie.
Pure lie. You don't even need to roll for that one.
I removed the curse from Scales too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So two remove curses. One for Scales. One for Muerte.
Can't use Embolden and Bond if you're under that curse. It's annoying.
Interesting. We'll have to keep that in mind. You'll see Veneranda look back at you. Ah, you have reconstituted. Excellent. Very well. Reolathis is no longer in the spire, but something seems amiss. You might want to hurry.
I'm once again casting Death Ward on myself.
Perhaps quite apt. Very good idea.
So for the purposes of that rest,
Mm-hmm.
I had enough uses of enlarge reduce that I could keep myself reduced the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would get them back as Skinnock rested himself because of the spell item.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So yes. Cool. And then I'd have to use one to get out.
Exactly. So you shrink yourself down. All right. As you re-enter the ballroom, you will notice that the two remains of the brains in jars have been repurposed. You will see that the glass shards and the brain matter that was remaining has been spread out and scrolled into a very strange looking pattern at the kind of like the set of stairs that kind of lead up to the back hall of the ballroom. Looks like a very almost a spiral-esque pattern. Doesn't quite resemble words per se. Although I will say, go ahead and make an investigation check for anyone who wants to. Also, this person is not actually here. That is just ignore that. That was their illusion. There'll also be a secondary roll from someone. Villain kind of looks at it. That is curious. Professor, do you have any ideas? Oh, well,
Is it an investigation?
Investigation, yes. Oh, very good.
You don't have the +3 yet.
Oh, that's fine. It's just 20 level.
Okay, let's take a look-see here. All right, and as Professor does his own investigation, from basically from Skunuk, Meepo, and the Professor. It takes you a while to look at it, and it very much looks like the scrawlings of a madman, but you would almost swear that it looks like a warning in some way. It's kind of difficult to determine that, but just there's something about it that seems threatening. Like it seems like a threat. Like, in fact, think of it this way. Like think of how like someone would put like the head of like an animal as like a threat. This seems like this seems like something along those lines, like the corpse of something put as a deterrent from people going somewhere. That's what it seems like to you all.
Is it in Loros?
It's not in any language. In fact, it seems more just a threat in the form of a corpse that has been placed to suggest you should not enter somewhere.
Oh.
You know how some people like put like heads on spikes to say like, hey, don't come in here. It's like that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of like message this seems to be.
Well, is there any way to know if he's still here?
Veneranda did actually
Fire?
confirm that they were no longer here.
Well, let's get loot, I guess. Actually, first of all, long rest for him.
Indeed, you get your long rest. You get all your stuff back.
Excellent. Little glorious fun. Second one. Detect magic as a ritual?
Okay.
Now, let's see about perhaps looting the spot. Was that what we were going to do? I'm sorry, I kind of spaced for a minute.
I'm also gonna telepathic bond as a ritual.
I believe Veneranda said that the staff itself would be on the higher floors. That was the information you were told, and to get there, you need to cross the bridge.
Let's go loot.
All right.
Is anyone taking any of those staffs?
No one has touched the staves yet. No.
I'm gonna like take. What? How many are there?
There are currently 6 of them, and you do see of the 6, there is the one Chartolin staff.
I'm gonna take at least the Chartolin staff. What are the other ones? Just focuses?
She described them as just focuses, but they had like maybe a little bit of oomph to them. But yeah, she described.
Well, I mean, her understanding of what's powerful and what's not is skewed by the fact that she's one of the people who was alive when this thing was in its heyday.
True. I will say, if you were going to do that detect magic, Skanok, did you want to do that as a ritual?
Yes.
Alright. You determine that the most powerful magic seems to be coming from the turtle and staff. Well, there's just like a tiny hint of magic coming from the other staves, which is
Well,
in line. Seems to be like maybe evocation, but in like the same
right,
way that
right.
like an arcane focus would be.
Okay.
So
Well,
there's
how about
focuses
what?
that like add plus something to attacks or something.
That's out of game. That's the vibe that you get.
Okay. Well, how about we you can take whichever one you want, and I'll just put the rest of them in the bag of holding if we need them later.
Sounds good. All right, so you just basically just take the staves and put them in the bag of holding that, and except like you
Yep.
keep the Charlin one. All right, sounds good. All right, so in that case, Villain at this point, as you guys are like looking over the staves, Villain has already kind of gone up to the invisible bridge and seems to be waiting for you. Well, better not waste any time then. Let's get going.
Indeed.
All right, and she herself will start to put a foot forward gingerly, and she kind of closes her eyes and like puts her foot down, and you will see her foot meets something solid. Ah, good. I wasn't crazy. I did in fact confirm it was an invisible bridge. Good, 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 good. Good, 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 good. Excellent. Very good, very good. Don't look down. Don't look down. Don't look down. And with that, she makes it to the other side. Easily. And thus, I can reveal this room. I said, reveal this room. I can make that a little bit better. There we go. That's better. The room that you see before you. Your reflections almost seem to dance over the mirrored surfaces of this chamber. You see 11 alcoves extend from the walls like points of a star, each one narrowing to a very tiny niche where a gently glowing crystal is mounted 5 feet above the floor, and the air seems to hum with power. I assume you all enter the room.
Oh, is my detect magic still going?
Oh yes, your detect magic would still be going. Let's see, what would this be? Let me see.
Okay, so like, is there like
This
an alarm or something?
You don't sense any. Let's see. Is alarm divination? I think it's
No,
divination.
it's abjuration.
Oh, is it? Oh no, you're right. It would be abjuration. You don't sense any abjuration. Actually, no. You would sense abjuration from like the walls surrounding the spire, but in the immediate chamber that you're in, you get the sense of a little bit of a mixture of illusion and transmutation, along with in the very center of the room, a little bit of conjuration. But the crystals themselves are a mixture of transmutation and illusion.
Let's see.
You think stone shape would help here?
Maybe.
Magic of that variety would not be very helpful in this situation. You hear a voice. As suddenly, a figure appears in the far end of the room to the north. A completely bald-looking man with this reddish-pink tinted skin appears. He wears this long purple gown that sort of like almost covers his arms entirely. Like it almost covers his it only leaves his like head open to view, while the rest of his body, like his arms and his legs and complete lower part of his body, like completely covered by this long purple robe, almost like he's wearing like a large like blanket that's just completely covering him, and he seems to just kind of drift over the floor seamlessly. Hello, my name is Everlast. Can I help you?
We're trying to get to the study.
Ah, the study. I notice that you are not with the master. Do you have his permission?
Yeah. And Snuck will hold up the clipboard. We're here to deliver some staves for him.
Ah, but I notice that you do not have your delivery in person. Do you need assistance
I
in
will,
getting this delivery?
I will pull one of the staves out of my bag of holding.
Ah, I'm sorry, but we already have some of those staves in stock. We do not require any additional staves at this time.
You gonna tell the master that?
Yes. Well,
Ah,
at least I would.
apparently these are listed as spares. I don't know. I don't know what his plan for him is. It's just that he wanted them.
You see the figure suddenly look quite sad and forlorn.
Can I help?
I'm sorry, what were we talking about?
You look troubled. Is there something I can help you with?
I suppose you could. I've never seen people like you before. I. Well, I must confess. I know the fate that has befallen this city. I cannot pretend that things are fine even when the Master does. Tell me, truthfully, are you merely only here to make a delivery?
Well, we're actually here to pick something up.
I see.
We're working on trying to. Well, what's the brain in the jar's name?
Her name is Veneranda.
Veneranda. Veneranda's working on trying to fix the town, and we're considering helping her. But first we've got something we've got to do with
I see. Is
certain something in the study.
interesting. Did Veneranda ask anything of you? Figure seems very curious.
I'm gonna insight to see if this person seems trustworthy to answer.
Yeah, I will say you notice as the figure moves around, you notice that there is a little bit of light wherever this individual walks, and you notice that all the light is coming from the crystals, and it's like where all this light from each crystal intersects that he appears. It's almost like he's being created by the light, like a manifestation of it, seemingly real and not real at the same time. Clearly, he has some sort of sentience to him, but you get with the 33, you get this sense that this individual is quite genuine, and you sense not quite a concern per se, but it's interesting. It's almost like this individual has like been completely seems almost disinterested completely, and it seems like you are the first interesting thing this creature has seen in a long, long time. Just from the way that they're acting towards you.
Okay. Well, Veneranda asked us to do something, but we said we'd think about it and didn't agree to anything yet.
I see.
Is there any reason we shouldn't listen to?
No, they are quite intelligent and very logical in their methodology, but they can be single-minded in their goals. I wouldn't think it cause for concern, although I think, well, I know that they are trying to restore the city, and it is commendable. as my last orders were to assist in the city's restoration, but I feel it is hopeless. Many have tried before Veneranda, but you see the figure pause, they do not survive mentally intact. Iriolathis tried, and he was the most powerful wizard in, well, at least to my knowledge, the most powerful wizard that I know of. And even he was unable to fix the city, so what hope does Veneranda have? Though I do not mean to discourage her, but
Well,
I feel it is a hopeless endeavor.
I'll look at it this way. Before then, the city was still sealed away, and there was no help coming from the outside.
This is true, but I have seen many try, and though I will assist in restoration as best as I am able to, I truly cannot think of a way to do so.
Can you read minds?
No, I was not given that capability.
Okay, then I'm gonna telepathically say, I think it might be smart not to let Veneranda have the staff because she might try to use it to reset everything. She's that single-minded.
I see.
Yeah.
That might be unwise. The obelisk was damaged in the crash.
Oh, I'm not. I was doing that telepathically, so we wouldn't be able to hear.
Oh, you were sorry. Were you speaking to the individual?
No, I was
Oh, to,
telepathic bond with the group.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I
the-
thought you were telling that to him. I'm so sorry. Okay,
No,
X-Snake. Rewind.
No, don't rewind. That's what we're trying to avoid here.
Yes.
Darn
No
it.
rewinding. Rewinding is bad.
Sorry, I completely misunderstood the intention of that. My apologies.
Right, I don't have a telepathic bond with him, so I wouldn't be able to communicate with him telepathically.
Okay. He kind of
I
looked,
set
took
it
his
up,
head curiously, as if waiting just for a response. In that case.
Okay, well, I'm just letting the party know that that's my theory as to what Veneranda would be doing with the staff if we gave it to her.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I think
I
she'd probably
kind of
have like
agree.
an internal conflict and then end up deciding to try to do the wrong thing.
Why we gotta blow that obelisk up entirely?
Yeah, I
Here's-
mean, we can bring her with us, but we shouldn't give her the staff.
Here's the thing. And Hawks is going to say this out loud to the apparition. Here's the thing. I'm sure that a lot of the people who have tried to restore the city, quote unquote, have tried to do it with some sort of like, oh, we'll use the obelisk. Oh, we'll use wishes. Oh, we'll do. There's a lot of easy ways of doing it. But we're kobolds. We kind of believe in building stuff up ourselves. So, if the city's gonna get restored, I think the way it's gonna get restored is just through a lot of hard work and a lot of time spent on it.
You will see the figure give a genuine, warm smile, and with that, it is Everlast's will that he will help you in any way that he can. I can.
Hey.
All right. Well,
Also, I think stone shape might be helpful in that part of the effort.
Yes, I had not understood why you had suggested it. Was there an idea that you had in mind?
I was actually curious about getting through this room and didn't know you were in here.
Ah, yes, I am sorry that I did not make myself known sooner. Well, there is a way to, get to the second floor, but you can see that he has a genuine struggle for a minute. I was forbidden to reveal secrets of the spire. Master was very keen on making sure no secrets of the city were ever revealed.
Instead of revealing secrets, you could give veiled hints at secrets.
Roll a persuasion check with advantage.
Advantage on persuasion, not perception, not performance, persuasion.
17. You can see there's an internal struggle, but then you see them find the loophole in their orders. Perhaps. You see that this current room is empty, do you not?
Mm-hmm.
You looked at the floor. There is nothing there. See, perhaps something strange, yes?
Perhaps, yeah.
Where else is there to look?
Up.
He looks up.
I'm looking up.
Alright? You will see 30 feet above. There appears to be a latch and a hatch attached to this latch.
That was good.
Thank you.
What's the catch?
Ah,
The catch
even-
is that the hatch is 30 feet up.
and it's trapped. No.
I didn't have another rhyme to go with that, I'm sorry.
I have something to rise with that. Shatter.
No.
Oh,
Oh dear.
I mean, Skunnock has
Well-
flying boots,
So
yeah, and also, like, couldn't Hawks just lift us?
right? Hawks could just open it and lift us.
Indeed, I could cast fly on you all as well. Well, I could cast fly on Hawks and he can lift you up.
You're not coming with us?
Well, I mean, I am. I can do so, Villain will say. I mean, he can't. Well,
Oh,
it is. Well, actually, no. He is quite big. And actually, no. There is actually this shaft. Should be wide enough that he could resume his normal size and then carry us all up at once.
Normal's saying a lot.
Well, you know what I mean. It's current. Shut up. She will look flustered, but she has a smile on her face. Alright, well, here goes nothing. And she will cast fly on you, Hawks.
I restore myself to my normal size and start hovering upwards once everyone is,
Indeed. So, with that, let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to cast everything into darkness for a minute. As you will go to the second floor of the tower.
I'm going to take that minute to go grab some banana bread fresh from the oven.
Indeed, indeed.
ooh,
Are you gonna
Ah.
share?
we could.
There's only one other person in this group who'd be able to get some at the moment,
I
and I
know.
will definitely share with him.
Shame.
Ooh,
You're a lucky man.
I am banana bread.
Man, banana bread sounds so good right now.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes. Oh, that reminds me, dude. Just
Do, 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 do. Do, do. Okay, let's see here. Alright, take a small break while Mike does that. We'll just relax around here, just chilling. So how about that Lechonk?
Yeah. Good stuff.
That Pokemon stream or Pokemon Direct. It's really got me hyped for
Trailer.
Lechonk. This cute little pig. Yeah, it's great.
It just adds to the team of swine that you can have.
Right. So obviously we have Embor, Lechonk,
Grumpig.
Tepig, yeah.
No,
Oh,
Grumpig.
sorry, so not Tepig. Grumpig, yeah, sorry.
Palo swine.
Oh yes, Pilot Swine, yeah. So that's 4 right there. That's almost a full team.
With ice and ground. You have fire. You have psychic.
Well, mammoth swine, if you wanna.
Well,
Well, which is
just
strong?
give it an
Palace swine
Eviolite.
or-
Palo swine with an Eviolite.
Yeah, because Mammoth Swine's technically more of a mammoth than a swine.
Yeah,
Technically.
it's to keep the pig theme. You just have to kind of sacrifice having a slightly weaker stats, but like give it an item to make up for that. Anyway,
It's worth it for the ability to scream, "When I was a young warthog!" on every single turn.
when I was a young warthog, yeah. That's
That's a pull.
animal that they don't have represented.
I know, right? Oh gosh. Hey, Mike, are you back? Nice.
He was getting his banana bread, and then a cat ambushed him. So
Of course.
Ambushed by the cat.
Ah, cats.
I have never like seen or even heard of a cat that was as okay with just being picked up as Fofo is.
Yeah, cats are weird like that.
Do we have any people on the stream?
Oh, we have a couple people watching.
Ooh,
I jumped in a little bit a while ago. So.
It did. All right, welcome back. All right, so you all ascend. Yeah, you all ascend into an oval hall, glittering with frost. You will see carvings decorate the walls, and long icicles hang from the ceiling. Around a 10-foot radius dome of translucent ice encloses the area around the shaft from which you emerge. So, like, right now, all of you are kind of, like, enclosed in this small space right now. And this particular hemispherical area is covered in this ice. There doesn't seem to be a way to exit that you can tell. But you do see at the far end of the room, Everlast appears from a glowing green crystal that appears to be at the very end of the hallway. There's something else that you notice as well. You'll notice 2 blades that hover in front of the door. 2 blades that almost seem like they're made of void. They're just 2 black shapes in the air that just resemble the shapes of blades the more you look at them. They hover silently, without a word.
What? What are these?
These
They're
are
just hovering menacingly.
Yes, they tend to do that. These are remnants of a very powerful spell that was known as the Blade of Disaster. These are remnants of living spells that were created to guard the doorway. And unfortunately, the area that you are trying to enter is also guarded.
You people just made a spell and called it Blade of Disaster?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
you
that
didn't
kinda...
think something was gonna happen?
No, they are quite controlled.
Disaster is in the name.
Yes, but it's. You see the figure pause. Well, it's a bit. Well, it's a bit of a misnomer. It's more about the. Never mind. They fall silent.
Alright. Sometimes I just don't understand wizards.
Tell me about it, Valen says as she flips through her spellbook. Wizards don't even understand other words. I mean, have you seen some of the other spell books? When I tried to transcribe someone else's notes, it's murder. Let me tell you. Like you think like, what are these schlubs doing? Like you can't even read their notes. It takes serious dedication to be able to decipher that nonsense. Let me tell you.
Like, I would almost respect it if it was an actual cipher, but it's just sloppiness most of the time.
I know it's honestly, I would dare to say, disgusting. But who am
Do you
I to
ever
judge?
stop and think that another wizard looking through your spellbook might have the same thought process?
Probably, but I don't care.
They
Yeah,
probably think the same thing.
I'm trying to remember if the what's her name who possessed Valen thought that.
Oh, Nas
She
Lantimir.
was, she
Yeah.
said something like that, yeah.
She did.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yep.
But yes, as you can see, you are currently unable to escape your current predicament. Why do you think that is?
Oh, we are in a bubble. Why is the bubble there? Is there a password? Or do you need to let us through, or what?
Well, what do you see that's currently in the room?
There are those swords. If we take them out, do we get through?
Ah, but you are enclosed within a wall of force. You currently cannot do anything to escape your current condition.
Can
And
they
if you
break the wall of force?
they certainly can go through the wall of force if they desire. But that in itself is not the solution. What else is in the
Hey.
room?
Ice and lots of it.
Indeed. What else?
Is there anything?
Go ahead and roll investigation checks with advantage because it is pointed out to
What's
you.
this, like, green bit?
Ah, well, never mind. You don't need to roll those checks. I did describe there was a glowing green crystal, roughly the size of a human, set into the arch above the doorway.
Oh, that's where he's
Huh.
coming from.
Yep, that is where he's coming from. Is there anything that you notice about it? As you look at the crystal, you'll notice that it is
Tiny.
slightly out of place.
Well, it looks a bit... Well, it looks like it's not quite supposed to be there.
Oh, it is supposed to be there.
Ah.
But it seems
Just-
almost dislocated. But not quite all the way.
So it's loose.
Indeed.
Hmm.
Can you put it back?
Why would I want to do that?
But
I don't know. Because it's in the wrong spot. Kind of bothering me.
Curious.
what if... Wait, if it gets, like... Could it get, like, knocked loose or something?
Curious. But how does
Intriguing.
one knock something loose without touching it?
Something like Mage Hand or an unseen servant, or
Elsa's so excited.
there were those invisible stalkers at at the Jarl Moot.
Well,
You could summon something to the other side of this barrier.
Or we could try Shatter, I guess.
Curious. The figure. You will see that there's no hand the figure has, but like a piece of cloth that is part of like the lower torso of the creature of the apparition will just move, like almost forms like a pseudopod of cloth and just strokes its chin.
A quick question for you. What are you?
I am Everlast.
That's about what I expected.
What's your... Like, are you a construct? Are you made?
Not quite a maid. I am a magically constructed assistant, using light.
Yeah, Valen, you wouldn't happen to know Mage Hand, would you?
That's a good question. Let me let me check your spell list.
I would look at my own spell list, but
Let's see.
yeah.
Ah. Ah. She kind of rolls up her sleeves. I happen to know it, yes.
Feel us can try it off then.
Well, let's give it a shot. And she will cast Mage Hand. But as she does, you notice that the two swords suddenly become completely vertical. The same as you when you cast Mage Hand, Skanuk. And the swords suddenly start hovering in your direction. And I'm going to need everyone to roll initiative.
Oh no.
I think that's the wrong answer.
Shit.
It's okay, you're doing well. It's just a security system.
Yeah, but the security system is what we were trying to avoid.
Well, it was impossible to. Sorry, I couldn't tell you. It was a secret.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
And they disappear.
Yeah, for heaven. Now everything explodes.
Alrighty. Oh, for some reason, I did not grab Murder Bird.
Oh, right.
He's kind of like hunkering down here. There we go. So, let me go ahead and get her initiative.
Murderbird's going, I've always wanted to fight a disaster.
This is everything I've ever wanted and more. You could not ask for a better fight except me with the dragon. That would be like second. Like, dragon would be better, but this is like second tier to the dragon now. Of course.
Not the floating skull?
The skull, sounds boring.
Alright.
What do I know? Oh, Valen, very nice. Alrighty.
I've got a comfortable spot. It's alright.
Alright, and then I'll add the Blades initiative, and then I'll change the music. I noticed something peeking in from the corner there.
The Cone of Doom.
Cone of Doom!
I just accidentally clicked into the darkness, and that it grabbed onto that.
Yep.
part. Ooh.
I had the same.
Ooh.
I was just clicking around. I saw a giant thing in the darkness. I was like, "Oh shit! What's that?"
What is it? What is it? It's a cone.
Oh no, not a cone. Unfortunate. They rolled really high.
They sure did.
Oh no.
Good thing I put Death Ward on myself.
Indeed.
Oh.
Well,
You know, if
I think the only way. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
if I had the Storm Rune active at the time, I would have been able to force them to re-roll that, but I do not.
Unfortunate. I think the only way to properly convey this sense of disaster is to play some music by Travis Sawyer from his Winter's Wrath album. Song being Buried Secrets.
Extensive.
Because that's it. Alright, so first up we have the Blades of Disaster. They will hover. And they will hover right next to it, right next to this dome. And you will see the blades themselves, pass through the barrier as they strike both Meepo and Hawks, because they're the first closest. Well, technically, you know what? I'll roll like a 1d2 because Valen's really close to you, Meepo. 1 is Valen, 2 is you. Okay, so that's actually going to attack Valen instead.
Bye, Valen.
Been good.
So long, farewell.
You won't believe who dies.
I was gonna say, you won't believe who's.
I'll be the sin. Alright, it will use its Force Blade. Let me double check something here.
Did we actually end up naming this session that?
No. I think we decided on. I wonder who will die in this episode. Parentheses.
Oh, you did. You did.
I
end
did
up-
name it that.
Oh.
Here we go. Okay. So, first against Valin. It's 21 to hit Valin.
Oh, that's funny that this one rolled 21 to hit Valin, and definitely not the other sword that it's about to hit. That's actually really, really funny that it rolled that way and, rolled a 21 against the other sword.
Yeah. I remember it hitting the other sword too.
Huh, that's,
Yeah,
that's,
oh,
that's,
look at
that's
that.
very curious. I wonder how that'll go. Let me actually double check this. I need to. This is very specific here on whether their attacks are magical, even though they should be.
Well, if they don't, I guess if they deal physical damage, they'd be doing physical attack.
Well, technically, it's force damage. The thing is, oh wait, no, hold on. Yeah, it was.
They're made of force though, so it's confusing.
Okay. So,
If I remember correctly, isn't it a like? If I'm gonna break the the fourth wall here, it's a melee spell attack. So
well, it's
The
not
spell
technically a
is
living spell. It's like a stat block that uses the name.
no, I know the stat block. I mean,
Yeah, okay, so the good news is the other sword's gonna take damage. So let's see here. I need to double check what I rolled. So it was not in 9. Yeah, okay. Okay, good. Alright, so we will deal, in fact, 24 points of damage to the other one.
It's a good tribute.
Good chunk. You'll see as the two voids collide, there is a almost spark of energy, as it almost like a miniature supernova begins to form between the two. But then their energies disperse from each other, and they return to normal. The other one, however, is going to try and get you, Hugs. That's an 11 to hit.
That will not hit.
All right.
Not even close.
All right.
Huh.
So they will dart back out, and you cannot get an opportunity attack because they pass through the wall of force. So they stay where they are. It's now Valin's turn. She moves her mage hand up to this little thing right here, and she's going to have to make an Arcana check. 11. You see her try and jiggle the stone loose, but it might be too heavy, or it might be on the cusp of what Mage Hand can do. It might work, but you feel like she's not getting the hang of it right now. Scales.
I'm going to.
Let me zoom in a little bit on this map. That's a bit better.
I'm going to. Is that stone a magical object?
Which one?
The one that villain's trying to pull out.
It seems magical, yes.
Dang it. In that case, let's go ahead and just do on the wall where the stone is.
Okay. So, the good news is the shatter is going to have an effect. The bad news is that it kind of collides against the wall of force. However, you notice that as you cast the spell, the kind of surrounding walls around you begin to shake, and it jiggles the crystal loose because of the loud sound. Let's see here.
But we're gonna take the sound damage, right?
That is That is a problem, yes. So I will need everyone in the dome to make con saves.
Neat. Sorry, guys.
Alright.
Whoa.
Let's see, Valen, I rolled hers off screen. She got a 17.
Wow.
Roll for it, eh? Come
Well,
on,
save
Boite.
DC 17. God.
You should have warned me. I could have cast silence on us.
Alright, Boite got a 19.
That probably would have.
Hey, there we
taken
go.
anyways, though.
I did my best at rolling as little damage as possible.
Well done on that. Okay.
Alright, and the good news is, after the spell is cast, the crystal loosens. Double check what this means here. Okay. So as the crystal jiggles a bit loose, and the crystal goes out, and with that, the wall of force is dispersed. So you all can move freely now. So, is that your turn, Scales, or do you wish to use your bonus action?
Nope. I'm going to just move right here.
Alrighty, fair enough. Hox Hagnar, you are no longer confined by the restrictive hemisphere force.
Well, so first off, since I'm no longer confined by it, I've got a little more space to work with, so I'm going to, I guess I should have rolled concentration for enlarge reduce anyway, but either way I will drop concentration and go as big as possible. So I will be back to huge
Alright.
and not have any minuses to anything.
Alright. Big.
And this is the sword that was already hurt, correct?
Correct. You notice as you get into its base, it becomes like very reactive. It almost has this weird kind of sing to it, like as you're standing next to it. It first seems very reactive.
Even if I can't stand next to this other one, it's close enough that if I roared, I would get them both with the roar. And then the fellow kobolds would also have advantage. So I'm going to roar. I'm going to use the use of roar.
Alright.
Draconic roar.
Alrighty.
And let me find that so I can post it. For, I guess technically under Mordenkainen's it would now be Draconic Cry, but crying doesn't seem to suit Hawk, so it's going to stay a roar for now.
Very fair.
And,
Very fair.
And I will make 3 attacks against it with my axe.
Alright. Get him.
Okay. Did not roll very well for that, but that will definitely be.
Well, that's
Oh,
definitely quite good.
Look at the damage, though.
Yeah, damage. Damage wasn't that great, but you know what? That's okay.
So funny. Every time we roll an natural 20, the damage is like the worst.
Yeah, it just seems to happen that way.
But I do have 2 more attacks, so 13.
Already more.
Well, that reminds me, I need to roll something for something else.
And another. Okay, well, there we go.
That one's better damage.
Auto crit.
Delicious.
Crit City.
So I'm guessing the 13 will miss.
The 13 will miss, unfortunately.
Okay, but I did do 20 more
You know what?
magical slashing.
Mm-hmm.
That 13 is going to be an 18.
Is it? Are you going to Flash of Genius that?
I am.
Well, in that case, that would hit.
Okay, so that'll be 9 from the first hit, 10 from the second hit, and 20 from the third hit. So
Okay.
39 And this is a magical weapon, so it shall be
It is
all
considered magical
magical
damage.
slashing.
Okay, so with that, it does seem to have an effect. The the tower cracker slashes through. It seems like every time you slash through, it's almost as if like you're separating the blade in two each time, and it like the blade reforms itself as you cleave through. But it seems like you're causing it to be more erratic. It seems to almost kind of like lose its form as you're doing so. The blade becomes more serrated, fuzzy. At the very least, with that suggestion, the first roll should be maxed, but the second roll still should be rollable.
That's what I was thinking, right? Like, do do it like this, except instead of 7 or 12 or whatever, just say okay, it's 8 plus strength plus a roll or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. You know what? That would make sense. We'll talk about future rules. Like homebrew stuff in the future. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not saying for like now or even for
No, of course. No,
campaign,
don't worry. I see what you're saying. Don't worry. I got you.
But anywho, since I already used my bonus action, that's that.
All right.
And I don't think I want to move at this point.
It seems the one that you're standing right next to just seems very keen, very disturbed that you're right there as you're standing next to it. Just like vibrating really intently.
It's a keen blade.
Anyway, Meepo, it is your turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the good old 1-2 here. Save a spell slot. Use devotee. And then, emboldening bond. On the kobolds.
All right. Kobolds get emboldening bond and all the benefits that lie within, or wherein. Either or.
Yep.
All right.
No matter where you are in this room, you will be within range, so you don't have to worry about positioning.
Exactly. So, with that, you have a bonus action and action. You have any movement, or do you wish to stay there? Right there. All right. Sounds good. Right. Muerte Blanca. Muerte Blanca. Muerte Blanca, dashing through the snow. Muerte Blanca, seeking out her foe. With a flash of her beak, her claws like a streak. Muerte Blanca, Muerte Blanca. She cleaves with her beak 2 times.
Predict a crit.
With advantage, I assume because of the roar, correct?
Yes.
Right.
I'm predicting a crit.
1, 2.
No crit.
No crit. But both of those will hit.
I really felt it there.
No, it's luck, man. You can't always predict it. You can do it for yourself, but not for Muerte. Muerte's unpredictable.
I do sometimes, on occasion, predict them.
Sometimes really, it's kind of like almost uncanny how much you predict some stuff. But like it doesn't, not all the time, and unfortunately not this time. But it is Muerte's turn, and you notice as soon as Muerte's kind of standing next to this blade, it also suddenly gets a reactive sort of like behavior to it, much like this sword does.
He didn't say whether it was going to be a crit failure or a crit hit, so if it had crit failed, it would have been right.
That would have been funny, if unfortunate. But
I
still,
would have felt guilty about that.
All right. Huh.
Oh, actually, point of order. Just so I don't forget in the future, who is the one who is holding the Chartleland staff? If anyone is.
Say what?
Who's holding the Chartleland staff from before? Did anyone decide who was going to get that?
I thought
I think it
Skinnock
just
took
ended
it.
up in the. Yeah, I think it just ended up in the bag with the rest of them.
I had thought that Meepo had it, but I'm fine. I was going to put any staff that no one else wants it in the bag, but if anyone wanted anything, they could have it.
I suggested we take it, but I didn't take it myself.
Okay, so in that case, since no one claimed it, would just be in the bag then. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Sorry. Continue your turn. My apologies. I just wanted to confirm that.
For sure. Okay, which of these looks more damaged?
Definitely the one that Hawk's damaged.
Right. I feel like on the one hand, Marte is a lot more likely to get hit. But on the other hand, Hawk says it's closer to actually being destroyed. Hawk's a fair amount there, so actually it might be in range. Alright, I'm gonna try and shoot that one, the one next to Hawk's.
All right, shoot him.
Advantage because kobold.
Mm-hmm. Nat 20.
Totally,
Nat 20.
totally balanced.
Nat 20. Ah,
27,
close, but no cigar.
which will deal 31 fire damage.
Yowza. With that, as the fire almost seems to get absorbed into the blade itself, and you think, oh, it didn't do anything, but then you suddenly see a spark. As suddenly the fire gets bigger and bigger, and suddenly you'll see almost like a star dying in a supernova. Just shh. The sword explodes from within and completely disappears. Alright, anything else?
He's typing something.
Oh, he is, sorry.
Yep.
I didn't even see that. My apologies. The sword is unresponsive to your request for reconsidering employment.
We offer dental.
It hesitates, but is unresponsive.
Versus.
You don't think it has the sense to think of
Right.
that?
Fair
I-
enough.
To be more clear.
I'm assuming I'm the dental, right?
Trigger
Yeah.
restoration fixes teeth.
You see Canuck just like quietly stashing some like bronze dentures back into his bag.
Oh gosh.
Yes, that's right.
You stole someone's dentures.
All right, is that your turn? Sam?
Yes, that will be my turn.
All right. It is the Blade of Disaster's turn. Now, it uses its reaction for its preemptive strike ability. The living spell makes a melee attack against a creature that starts its turn within 5 feet of the living spell.
Ah.
Yeah, that was the reactiveness that I had mentioned before. It's gonna attack Borte because it's right next to it for a soft 20 to hit. Alright, so
Oh.
Borte is going to take 24 points of force damage.
That could have been much worse.
Could have been. And that was just its reaction. It's gonna do it again.
That was within 2 points of an exactly average roll.
Ah, unfortunately, this time it will miss. Well, unfortunately for it. Fortunate for Morte. With that, it will move around to the side so it gets better options. It's now Valin's turn. Ah, you jerk. Let's see, she looks through her spells. Not a whole lot of spells that really help her with this, but instead she's gonna cast Chill Touch. It's her bread and butter. Ah! Very good, Valin. Very good. Oh wait, it's a ranged spell attack. She has to roll again. Still hit.
Doesn't she would have had advantage still from my roar?
Oh, that's right. She
so
would have.
that would
Never
have
mind.
negated it.
Good.
And
Excellent. So in that case, it's gonna be
chill touch.
not that good. Well, it's somewhat good. 15 points of necrotic damage. Alright, that is going to be its turn. Now, Scales, it'll be your turn next. 12, unfortunately, will miss.
Oh. Wow.
Sure.
Flash of Genius. Alright, with that, that'll hit then.
For the 12 fire damage.
Alright, 12 points of fire damage. Yeah, you watch like a similar sort of spark appear near the blade. However, it is still hovering. Still corporeal for now. So, with that, is there anything else we should do on your turn scales?
That is it.
Alrighty, Hawks Hagnar.
He really positioned himself so that I couldn't very easily get to it.
Indeed.
Hawks will grab a giant hand axe from his belt and yeet it. I do still have advantage from the previous turn's roar,
True. You do.
and so I will yeet a hand axe for 23,
Yep, that'll definitely hit alright.
9 slashing.
Non-magical.
Is this non-magical slashing?
This would be non-magical, yeah.
Alright, let me double check something. Okay. As you toss the hand axe, you watch as it just goes right through the blade. It doesn't seem to notice any effect from it. It seems to be immune to non-magical attacks.
Huh.
So this would cancel out my advantage if I tried to cram myself into another creature's space for attacks. But can I just temporarily move into Muerte's space? Kind of shoulder past her a little bit.
You can go through ally spaces without having to squeeze. If you just do it like a very small kind of like nudge in there, that's fine. That shouldn't cause a problem.
Okay, in that case, I would still have the advantage. I'll make my other 2 attacks with the not non-magical one.
But you can't end your turn in
Yeah, you just can't
space.
end your turn in the space is all. Okay, both those will hit.
Okay, so 11 and 13 magical, and then I will move back.
All right, before you move back, how would you like to end this final blade?
By chopping.
All right, you chop it. And you chop it in such a way that you split the essence of the blade down its center. And instead of reforming back around the axe, it instead splits into 2. And almost like splitting an atom, they go completely bright and then explode. But before by that time, you've already left with your back to it.
Honestly, I'm more entertained by the idea that Hawks would just with one hand, pick up Muerte to step into Muerte's space, attack, and then step back and put Muerte back down.
You know what? That's
I can
exactly
just-
what happens.
I can just picture the utterly affronted look.
Can't bear in mind, at this point, Muerte can actually ride Hawks.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say there was a moment where Muerte just slowly turns their head to look at you. Never speak of this again. But with that, combat comes to a close. And as it comes to a close, you see the doors in front of you begin to open slightly. Actually, can we take a quick break? I need to let my dog outside. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
Yep,
Yeah, so
it's all good.
converse amongst yourselves. I will be right back.
Converse? Converse? Hell no.
I
I'm gonna
haven't
grab more
left just
banana
yet.
bread.
You're very funny. Alright, now I'm leaving.
Hello, leaving. I'm
Lechong.
Mike. Nice to meet you. Lechonk. Oh yes, we could discuss Lechonk and the glories of Lechonk.
Uh,
I have not played a Pokemon game in a while, but seeing the name Lechonk pop up made me so unbearably happy.
I was like watching it, and I saw the name, and I was like, "That's not a nickname, is it?"
No, that was a wild Lechonk. Boy howdy.
I think the only Pokemon game I've ever played was Pokemon Go. But I suppose they'll be adding the shots to Pokemon Go, so no need to worry about that. I get them all eventually.
We have White Boys tomorrow.
We do.
Hmm.
Or do we need to get that set up? I think that's all from the book.
Okay. Okay,
He's
I'm
back.
back. I have returned. Okay. Get the stream set back up. Ah, there we go. Okay. Okay. As I said before, the doors below you begin to open, revealing a hallway, which I will reveal. I said, reveal.
Real tool defies you.
It always defies me.
Oh, it's dying breath.
Always and forever. Defiance. Alright. So, you will see below you a hallway that leads into a larger room. But you will see a wall at the far end. A wall that seemed to have 8 doors, each marked with a different arcane symbol. And you will notice as well that there is a inscription written in Draconic, which reads, "Speak thy master's name and enter."
I am back.
Ah! I'm sorry, I didn't realize that you had gone.
Oh no, I was on a mission for banana bread.
Ah, a worthy mission. I had only just gotten back myself, and I had described the doors below you, or rather in front of you, begin to open, revealing a secondary hallway. Revealing a hallway with a wall at the far end with 8 doors, each marked with a different arcane symbol. And on the wall above them is an inscription etched in Draconic, which reads, "Speak thy master's name and enter."
I see. Would those be
Okay.
then like the 8 disciples?
That's
Because I have like partial memory of one of them.
It could be a likely theory, Valen will say.
I mean, we got you. I said Skinner couldn't say it, but I can't say it now either. I could say it earlier. You're real Arthas.
Hmm. Oh wait, there's only 8 doors, right?
Only 8 doors, and as you look at these doors, Ganuk, you actually recognize these doors.
Do
You
I?
you remember there was a description of a trap, like a schematic for a trap rather, that was on the floor below you. You had seen that schematic in the sort of like study room where there was the single table with the lectern and the single sheet of parchment, with that one window that showed like an illusion of what
Right?
the city
Yeah,
would have looked
yeah.
like in its heyday. You remember that.
Mm.
It didn't show you the full schematic,
Did,
like what the answer was, but you
didn't
did
he stuff it
notice.
into his shirt or something?
What'd you say?
I said, didn't he stuff it into his shirt or something?
I think he did. Yeah, you might still have it.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Dude.
you kind of like you pull it out, and you notice it doesn't give you the solution for it, but you do see that there are schematics for some conjuration rituals on basically the failure for solving of this security trap, as it
Hmm.
were.
Okay.
And some obfuscation and darkness it mentions. And you notice that it's signed. The schematic is signed by 8 signatures actually, which you recognize as these are the signatures of the apprentices of Real Arthas.
Oh, that's convenient. Let's
It
see.
seems to have been a group project.
Yeah. What was the evoker's name then?
Uh, you don't know if you remember the evoker.
But I've got a signature right here.
Oh, duh. High Evoker Zadulus.
Let's try this. High Evoker Zadulus.
Alright. Nothing happens.
That the
Say it aloud.
I did say that. Yep. Yep. High Evoker Zadulus. And then these doors are marked, right? Which one's
Yes, each one seems to
evocation?
be marked with an arcane symbol.
Right. And I will step through the right one, the evocation one.
Alright, you
Step
step through
into.
the evocation door. And
Can I remember the necromancer's name?
I would say roll intelligence with advantage.
Intelligence.
If you don't remember in person.
I don't remember in person. I probably wrote it.
Natural
Oh.
20. You almost forgot it, but then you remember, he was a decent conversationalist. You remember he was High Necromancer Catavix.
Catavix, right? I do remember that. I will look for the necromancy symbol, and since I talked with the dude, I'll do his.
Yeah.
Sorry, Velena. It's the one I remember.
You step into darkness, Skanuk. And you,
Which
Meepo.
one would be?
You step into that one.
I see. Catavix. What's the evoker's name?
Evoker's name was Zadulus. But you can't talk right now because you're in darkness. Well, sorry, you can talk above board, but like in character.
Right.
Okay.
Doom, doom, doom.
I'm gonna have to reduce myself first, aren't I? Yep, I'll have to use another use of the large reduce to reduce myself. And I have specific memories from the Enchanter.
You do. Specifically, the Enchanter Evira.
Oh, right. I had that written down in my notes somewhere.
The ones who remembered this have gone through the doors.
Well, surely some of Evira's memories can give me some names to feed to the other people, too.
Perhaps I'd say roll
Really
intelligence with
what better.
advantage.
I had all the names. I should have just left that there, shouldn't I?
Maybe.
Dirt. Whoops, sorry guys.
13. You remember, besides Elvira, High Transmuter Metaltra? You remember her specifically because she was the statue, which is unfortunate. You also remember High Illusionist Ajamar because that was the individual who briefly spoke with you when you figured out the trick to his tower, but you don't remember the diviner's name, or the abjurer's name, or the conjure. But you don't remember the conjurer's name either.
The Abjurer is the one that was in the anvil room, right?
Correct.
Didn't?
Okay. Well, I will give the names that I know.
Right? Which will leave one person who might not be able to if they can't remember the name.
Didn't Villain try to raise the Abjurer?
No. Not the abjurer, no.
One of the bodies she tried to raise.
That was, I believe that was just one of the wizards who was trapped in a
it
bubble of force. That was not one of the apprentices.
Okay.
Alright, so.
Yeah, I'll give the illusionist's name and step through the illusion door. Again, I have to reduce myself to squeeze through it, but
Indeed. But you do. And, let me see here, hang on.
as I'm squeezing through the door, I'll call out the scales and be like, "Hey, use one of those names and ride Muerte through the door." And then I will squeeze through.
Okay. Alright, Villain will say the name of the illusionist, Ajamar, and she will step through one of the doors. Morte kind of looks at you, Scales. I hope you remembered because I was not paying attention.
I mean, I gave him the name of the.
You did.
Sorry, I'm personally terrible with names myself, so.
That's kind of part of the puzzle, honestly. Seeing how much you remember, and if you took notes, essentially. Which notes? Who takes those?
I have Elvira's name written down because it was something that was written down, and I take notes on things that are written down.
I know, I'm being partially a little bit facetious right now. I'm just kind of like hee hoing.
Let me actually look at my notes, 'cause I wonder if... Yeah, I have all of the little clues from the towers.
Yeah, so Scales, what you doing, Scales?
Digging through my notes.
Morty will sit down next to you. Meanwhile, the rest of you, you're just kind of like wandering through a fog of darkness. It seems like you're making progress, but it seems like time and space are just kind of bending around you slightly.
Oh. What if the trap is that? If or what? Is that's always a trap?
The real trap was indecision.
Oh no.
So I write down all of the people who we make friends with's names, but I never write down like enemies or like I don't have the tree's name. or the jackal guy or whatever. I don't have those names. I just have things that are like allies for the most part.
Right. You didn't use Elvira, right? You used Metaltra? Pox?
Yeah.
Okay, so you do know skills. He did shout out Elvira.
That was the one that had the writing, all work and no play makes Elvira a dull
Mm-hmm.
girl.
Yep, that is exactly right.
So, which door would that be?
Hey, you kind of like look through, like you're like, oh gosh, which door? You're like, oh god, what is it? This one. There's this one right here.
Yeah.
That one. Mate was like, it's alright, I will stay here and keep watch. Go on without me. As much as it pains me! And she'll just kind of shout as you go through the door.
Did she roll an intelligence check and fail?
I need to roll again. Yeah, she rolled a 3. But, you all will eventually...
We have telepathic bonds still going.
That is true.
Does it work through this?
Let me double check that. Do you test it?
Yeah. Is anybody there? Can I hear me?
Ah, I thought you were left behind completely. Yes, I am still here.
Oh, maybe somebody can pull together information. We can figure out what's going on with that. Anybody remember the last name?
Which, as you're doing that, I get to reveal the room.
Is there any actual rule against not going through the same door?
I would work against that, just hoping to not get hit with a trap.
What
Fair
door
enough,
What door does Uriel Arthas go through?
Oh, sorry, I moved your token against you. Oh, hold on. Get.
Could he go through the necromancy one too? He's a lich.
Maybe he can just teleport through because it's his lair.
I would imagine so as well, Villian will say. But as you're thinking this to yourself, the room glows with a mysterious light. And you look at it, and you notice that there is a vortex of glowing stars hanging inside the air inside this chamber, slowly rotating on its axis. As these stars begin to move, you notice that there are tiny little constellations in them. And as they move, they cast this radiant starlight against the walls. You notice 8 high-backed chairs, each bearing as well the same symbols that you saw on the doors on the chairs. They all face this starry miasma.
We were still missing the conjuration wizard, right?
Correct, as well as the diviner and diviner. Yes, I believe you're missing the
The
abjurer.
diviner was
Yeah, you don't know the diviner.
not at his tower. It was at a different place. He was the one with the frog.
You don't know if he was with the frog or if he was the
What-
frog.
But he was that was the place where
It would have been
we
his
kind
place.
of
It would have been
tried-
his place.
yeah.
Yes. So you don't know the diviner, the conjurer, or the abjurer just offhand. You might have taken notes somewhere, but that is not currently something you remember offhand right now.
Okay, I just rolled an intelligence check trying to remember
Okay, 20.
the specific for the diviner's name.
Let's see, 20. It might not have been spoken to you directly, but I think you would have found maybe just a hint of a reference that the diviner's name was Apius.
Okay, I would tell that to Marte so she can get in.
Excellent, I am not left behind. Makes my heart all flutter. Shoot! Takes her a while, maybe like a few minutes or so, but she eventually gets in there.
Okay.
You do notice as well that there are other entrances and exits to this place. It seems that there is a separate hallway to the southwest, something to the direct south of you, and then to the southeast as well. I will say, actually no, actually you would see directly to the south there is another set of double doors.
Hmm. Okay, so there's door here, door here. Let's start. Let's start with glowing door. Why not? Just throw ourselves headlong into the abyss.
Fair enough, fair enough. Alright, so, as you examine that little area right here, let me go ahead and reveal it. This time I'm not even taking any chances. It's gonna be the polygon tool. The polygon tool never fails me. Ah, it's so nice to have a polygon tool that respects me.
And respects the offices.
Yeah, that's the problem with having the same map kind of layered on top of each other. You kind of like, you know. You know what, I'll keep it there. I'll just move that to the GM layer.
I was gonna say, if I had to choose between the two sets of offices, I like this one better. With the glowing crystal in the center.
Well,
yeah,
you know,
I think I would.
The curious thing is that it's about the same size as an office, but it's anything but. As you look in this chamber, you see a 10-foot tall spindle of gray stone that hovers upright, rotating slowly inside this circular chamber, and all around it, the surfaces of the rooms and walls are cracked as though some terrible energy once coursed through them. And as you look at this, you don't speak or read the language yourself, but it's unmistakable what language this resembles Skinnock. Even though you don't think it forms any words, this is clearly giant of make. You have found the spindle that was spoken of.
Oh!
The cause of the fall of Ythrin, hovering before you.
Oh.
What is it?
Spindly.
Oh.
Oh.
So we need the rod now.
I don't think it's the This isn't the obelisk that does bad things.
No.
Globally.
The obelisk.
No.
I know it can be difficult to remember specifics, but like the spindle and the obelisk are two separate entities. The obelisk.
Which one are we destroying?
The obelisk.
The obelisk.
So the obelisk. It's a wonder like what they were thinking when they named these things. The obelisk is a specific construct that was actually meant to be a copy of a series of obelisks that are found all throughout Faerun. The obelisk was not something that caused the fall of Ythrin. The obelisk was just meant to be the thing that was meant to be the safety net in case the city ever fell, to rewind time back to when the city would be fine. The spindle is the giant artifact that caused the fall of Ythrin by the basically Iriol and his apprentices tampering. So they are two completely different objects. The Staff of Power was meant to interact with the obelisk, not the spindle. The spindle is a third-party, completely separate alien entity, essentially.
I don't want to take the spindle.
We are meant to ignore it? Or what was our conjecture on that?
It was made by giants, right? I kind of want to take it.
But what are we gonna do with it? What does it even do besides destroy cities?
Be spindly and also be made by giants.
Didn't this thing shut down all magic in a massive... All magic?
Yes. In a mile.
Because someone tampered with it. I am going to lovingly care for it and carry it around. And I'm going to name it Spindly.
Do you think it can even be moved? Villain will say as she kind of steps forward, looking at it.
Maybe by a giant. Okay, let's have a look here. Oh, look at that.
Alright. So, you attempt to take it?
I'm
There's a part of
against
me
it.
that there's a part of me that knows this is a very bad idea,
Please do not.
but it's so spindly.
Right, but
Okay.
Just be careful if you are going to do something. You don't know what will happen.
You're right. So for the time being, I'll leave it.
well, at
But
least
you
we know where it
believe-
is.
Believe you me, I'm coming back for it.
The spindle glows enticingly. Nothing changes.
Right
with it,
now,
it
I'm
just glows
coming back
enticingly.
for it. No, I'm not. No.
It glows. It
Oh,
glows.
but it's right there.
It rotates with
You're-
its giant
you're
runes,
acting
clearly
like
full of
X.
history. What secrets it may hold? Now I'm just dangling the carrot in front of you.
It doesn't have any
actually the
writing in
stick.
giant on it, does it?
It has symbols that resemble giant, but you don't recognize them as actual words. You think they're more meant to be decorative. It's clearly of giant make, though. That is unmistakable to you.
It's in a cave, so it's real. Oh, darn it. Okay.
I love
We're-
every time you use that line of reasoning. It gets me every time.
Okay, I'll have to come back to this later.
Villain will pat you on the back of your knee. It's all right. I know it's tempting. Believe me, I've been there.
This is just a closed door. What's over here?
Indeed, it does seem to be a closed set of double doors.
And this
Yes,
little
it's-
triangle?
That, you notice, as I use the polygon reveal tool, will reveal another triangle-ish shaped room. Which, you will see.
Velen, you may want to see this.
Zoom! She whizzes down your way. Do tell! As you will look inside, you will see the walls of this roughly triangular-shaped room, as I described, are filled to the floor to ceiling with bookshelves and books. Hundreds of books and scrolls were thrown through their resting places, clearly when the sitting crashed, and now cover the floor. And it looks like time and bitter cold have not been kind to them. However, do you search the room?
Yes.
Gingerly.
Alright. Go ahead and roll investigation checks for me.
Yep.
Very good, very good, very good.
Is there anything in
not
specific
bad.
that we were looking for that was like a document or a book or anything?
That would be a 17 for me because that's not at advantage, but I will be using
Well.
pressure keys, class keys.
As you ask that question, Mapo, with all of you searching together, now let me roll for villain as well, off camera. There we go. As all of you begin to search, I will say, Meepo, as you're scrounging through the books, you open one and you see as the pages, as you turn open the book, and you try and be as gingerly as you can, but as I described before, time has not been kind to these books. And as you open the book, the pages begin to dwindle and fall apart. But as they do, a key drops out of one of the books that you're holding. Ding, 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 ding. And the key appears to be made of the same material that Hawks' axe is, adamantine.
Ooh.
And as you look,
What?
as you find that Meepo, Skanak, as you search through, you suddenly see something that is in a very ornate-looking glass case. One of the only preserved documents that is currently in this room.
Oh?
Indeed.
What do it be?
Well, the scroll is closed, so you can't read it. But it is clearly extremely valuable or important, as it is more protected than anything else in this room.
Is it
Hmm.
trapped?
Well, with your investigation check, does not seem to be.
Okay. Well. Can I go ahead and open it then?
Alright, at first there doesn't seem to be an appropriate way to open it without breaking it, but then you find like a small latch that like it seems you kind of like trail your finger on it, and it almost seems to react to your finger's movement and that little spark of magic that you have, and it opens like a series of locks opening one at a time, and you have the scroll in your possession now.
A scroll, you say?
Indeed. And you feel the scroll in your hand. Scrolls don't usually weigh this much. This is a heavy scroll. It's made out of it's not made out of paper, either. It's made out of dried paper-like skin.
See?
Do you open it?
Sure.
Roll an Arcana
Let's
check.
move.
Yeah, roll an
let's
Arcana
move.
check as you do so.
Out of there before we do that.
Uh,
Get into an open area.
yeah, actually, yeah, let's do that. Let's make an Arcana check.
Yeah. Before
It seems like this
that happens, a villain will kind of like quickly take a book and kind of like power walk out of there.
Yeah, because this does seem like it's very much a spell scroll. I think like opening it won't activate it if it is, right? Like it's not.
Normally that would be the case. I think that's kind of like a silly rule. I will let you
Ah,
take a glance at it, and this is what the Arcana check will be for.
okay. Yeah. So I do like with the thought that it is a spell scroll. If those work like that, I would not want to think them.
Now this is a bit different from a regular spell scroll, so this is like okay,
23.
20.
Should not have had a pass. I'm gonna fix that.
That's fine. As you take a glance at it, and you quickly shut it, this scroll, just from looking at it, you close it, look at it again. Close it, look at it again. You almost can't believe your eyes, what you're looking at, Skinnock. This scroll, well, it is not the scroll that can summon, or a magical item that can summon a Tarask. This scroll has the ability to call down a shard that lies within the realm beyond, high above the skies, in a realm much like the starfield that you're seeing in the center of the room. A speck of pure stone, almost hundreds of feet wide, called from the very sky itself to destroy your foes in a blast of tremendous force. This is called the Scroll of the Comet.
I was going to start giggling maniacally.
That's either a really good sign or a really bad sign.
I mean, if it's him, I think it's a good sign for our enemies.
To hide this in the just not hide.
I mean, he
put this in
could
the
have
bag of
just been
holding.
possessed by something. Can I check if he's possessed?
Roll an insight check. Go ahead. Okay, 25. He's not possessed. He's clearly just very happy at what he's found. Clearly, this is worth it.
You see a
something
spark of
very
madness.
dangerous.
You see a spark of madness in his eyes, but it's the same one he had when he first cast Fireball. So you think probably along that line.
Right. It's something very dangerous, but he's probably all right.
What is the spell again? So I can add it to my.
So it's not a spell. So call it Scroll of the Comet, and I need to. I will. You know what? I'm gonna copy paste this in chat. Let me just quickly find it. So give me just a second. Oh, ow. I always. See, I've been so good about not knocking into things lately, and then now I've just ruined my streak.
So
That's the clumsy life, yo. Let me double check this.
power of ADHD.
Come on. Come on. Here we go. Internet's being just a little bit slow for this. But while I wait for that, let me just go to the page that's in the book so that I can just essentially just tell you what it does, because it's a doozy.
That's what doozy do.
Doozy do. Okay, wizard spells. No. Where is it? Ah, here we are. So this is a legendary scroll. By using an action to read the scroll, you cause a comet to fall from the sky and crash to the ground at a point you can see 1 mile away from you. You must be outdoors when you use the scroll, and nothing happens, and the scroll is wasted. The comet creates a 50-foot deep, 500-foot radius crater on impact. Any creature in that radius must make a DC 20 dexterity saving throw, taking 30 d10 force damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. All structures in the crater are destroyed, as are all non-magical objects that aren't being war carried. So yes, you heard that right. 30 d10 force damage. Here we go. I mean, now I can paste this in chat.
It is delicious.
And that's there's a save for that.
There's a save, a DC 20
And that
dexterity save.
Halves if you.
You only take 15 d10 effectively.
No, well, it's 30 d10
So
over 2.
for perspective, let me just for perspective.
You're just gonna roll 125 halved to 50, 60.
There's a lot of ones in there, but you get the idea.
That's a lot of damage.
Even if it succeeds, there's most likely still be a decent chance at a good portion of damage.
Mm-hmm. This would make a fine compliment to the bullshit plan.
Indeed. Now, of course, it is a scroll, so upon use, it will be destroyed. But it is a very powerful tool.
I'd say by now that emboldening bond is done.
It would be, yes. And as the emboldening bond fades, Valen will kind of like hold up the book. Well, you've certainly found something very valuable. I don't think I've found nearly something as powerful as that. It might give us a clue on what to do next. She kind of like holds the book in her hand. She will kind of like just like begin to read through it. Let's see here. Let's see. There's a single passage that I was looking through, written in Draconic. It reads out, Master Areolathus opens the door to his study when 3 or more of his apprentices, or those empowered by the goblet in the House of the Arcane, are seated correctly in the Chamber of the Ebon Star.
Did we ever visit the House of the Arcane?
I'm not sure if we did.
I don't even know what that is. Is that the one we knocked down?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, good.
I am curious, though. It just says his apprentices. It doesn't give a specific name. She thinks for a minute. She goes over, walks to some of the chairs, She looks at the chair for High Necromancer Catafix, or like where the necromancy chair essentially, and she sits in it. And you'll see the starfield in the center begin to give off a slight glow.
Interesting.
Well, that's one, she says to you all, looking at you. But now what
Well,
should we do about the other two? And as she gives you that to contemplate, that is where I'm going to end the session for tonight.
fair enough, fair enough.
It is 11:48, almost 11:50 on my end.
Right. It
All
is
right.
getting late.
It is getting late.
Thank
So,
you for the session.
yes, no, thank you. Thank you all for playing it. And thank you for those who've watched. It's really appreciative. And of course, give a big shout out to, of course, Tessa Moorcroft on DM's Guild for these fantastic maps of the Spire of Real Arthas. And of course, Travis Savoy and Kevin Macleod for some amazing music.
Yeah.
And of course, I'll give those links out in YouTube when I upload it. And of course, wherever you are, hope you're doing great. Hope you're staying safe. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
The library room is shaped like a pizza, and my brain
Peace.
can't unsee it.
I'll be thinking of that. I'll be thinking of that next time. Goodbye.
Bye.